Hey everyone, Tim Higgins here. So I'm going to do a video on, well, this is probably a multi-part series video. The reason I say that is because I don't know how many videos I might do, at least enough to get what I'm trying to get across. Well, my goal is to show you some benefits of using Agile Designer with TDM. Now, in order to do that, I need to create some things in TDM. So we'll walk through those as a result to this, if that makes sense. And you'll see what I'm saying when I get there in a few minutes. Whenever you see a lot of examples from online and things like that, a lot of them are using this credit card one, and it is right here. So if you open up to your examples, you'll be able to see it too. Now, the one thing you'll notice is I'm not connected to my repository, so I'm not connected to TDM. Agile Designer has a lot of different connectors. Okay, and I'm pretty sure there's more you can download. I haven't used all these, probably haven't used 99% of them. I have used TFS and I have used, obviously, TDM. Now, a while back, I did a video on using Agile Designer to show your TDM output on the portal. But this time I want to get a little bit detailed. First of all, I'm going to connect to my repository. I want to make sure all this is correct. And I'm now connected to my repository. Now, we'll go over this again because I'll give a video just on Agile Designer. I'm going to make this one on test matching. And here's why. So when you go and look at one, I'm just picking one. It can be any of them. It could be the green, your failure. You have these right here. So with test data, the variables in test data really are about feeding data into this test case here. And I hate using the word test case because it's really just feeding data within this one little block. So most of the times this is hard-coded. Okay, I do have a yes and no, but I can create another one. You know what? That's a little generic. Let's say name. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Now, you've seen the benefit of saying that you can use the data painter. Oops, sorry. I meant to click this one. So here I can connect, and I can bring in other things as well. But you can also do your default variables. Like I said, we're going to do a video on this one. Right now, I don't want to get detailed on this one because this video is not about Agile Designer. So I'm trying to get myself some real estate here. Okay. But you could do a lot of stuff with this if you wanted to. Okay. When you go down to the next one, which is make data. The point of this is to make data in the system backend. So you would think along the lines of like what I said the other day of data generation, because we're going to make the data. Okay. And we'll get to that in a bit. And then the other one is find data. So again, this would be test matching. Okay. So if I click on this, it wants a test match. And that's what we're going to cover today. So let me close all this now that you guys have seen that. And guys and girls, whoever's watching, let me log into TDM Data Maker. And log in my top secret password that everybody probably uses. Okay. And I've already got a profile set up. So we're just going to skip all that. Now, we need to think here what our mission is, what our goal is. So if we think about, let's see what we're doing. Let me open SQL. Now keep in mind, everyone, I'm trying to make these videos as a working video, which means, yes, I'm going to be typing in stuff and looking for stuff and as we go, but that's kind of the real world. So I think these videos are more beneficial than somebody just having a pre-plan and working things out. So we're going to start with orders. All right. And orders, again, I started with orders, if you saw my other video, because that's a free database that comes with TDM. So I'm doing this also as a way for you all to follow as well. One thing I can't stand is when you're watching a learning video and the person just knocks it out like, hey, check out this workflow, blah, 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 blah. And then you go back and like, well, you didn't show me how it actually works, right? Or how you actually built it. So that's why we're starting from scratch. So with saying this, oh, I'm sorry. I lost train of thought. So when you think about, we're doing test matching, okay? Now, with doing that, they want what's called a data mark, okay? And when I say that, I mean the people who designed this, who came up with TDM doing a test matching. So the idea with the data mark is, it basically is just what I'd call a temp table. or a staging table that you're going to put your data in that you want to query against. Okay, so with saying that, if I have a data mark, I then want the data mark to have values that I want to test against. So in other words, how many people in the database named Tim live in Florida, right? To me, the test matching really is just a humongous where clause that creates queries for you. Now, if you watched the video the other day on test and find, I'm sorry, test and reserve, find and reserve, I'm sorry. It kind of has the same concept, but you'll see this as it goes through. This is more along the lines of like running physical tests against your actual data. Now, the benefit of this is a lot of programs out there today that do QAing and do testing. They don't do database testing. They don't test against the database. They'll go against the UI. They'll go against functions. They'll go against code. They'll go against the process of your code. You know, what you built to your workflow, if you call it that. But this will actually test the data itself, the physical data in the database. Not the database, the data. So what we need to do now is we need to build a data mark. And what a data mark really is, it is a table in your database that has data that you want to test against. Okay. Sorry, my spacebar is not very good on this laptop, and so when I type, it doesn't do spaces very well. I have to like slam it hard. But with saying that, the demonstrations, if you look online, most of the demos talk about using cubing data, and a lot of them kind of would use, well, let's just build it out. We'll go from there. So we need to build a table, and I did try to do a little pre-work here. And what I'm going to do is we're going to create this table. So what we're going to do is, I keep stuttering because I'm trying to think of the best way to do this. We're going to start with a view. Luckily, these views came with orders. And for those who don't know, it's pretty common sense. I'm using SQL, and a view really is just a humongous where clause, right? Kind of goes back to that. But when I say humongous where clause, it means, it's actually just linking these tables together for us. Now, this one's already got one built, so these are products. I don't think this is one I was looking at. I'm sorry. So, no, this is just a list of products, which is, it's pretty cool. We could do that one. But, oh, yeah, payments. So here's what I was looking at the other day. So if I do payments, I could do a list by products, and I think that would be a pretty cool view. Now, for say, you don't have to have a view. Okay, if I look at this view, I really could just put this in a where clause, but again, it would be a very humongous where clause. Come on now, seriously? Okay, so this would be my where clause, right? And notice it says status is complete. So that's what really makes it. And again, if I took this, I can make it a stored procedure. I can do whatever I want to with it. We just have to get a way to get to the data that's together. Now, we're looking at this. We're going to split it up. What I want from here is I'm going to use order ID as my primary key, even though we already have an order ID. I'm sorry, even though it's duplicated. We're going to get the order ID. I think it's just like that. There's a reason you want to do it exactly, and I'll show you when we get to that. And then we're going to do, I think I did product name, because obviously we want to know what the product is. And then I'm thinking order total, and I'll tell you where I'm going with this in a second. I don't know if I spelled total correctly. And then I'll use account number because I want to know who did this. And then I think that's it. So shipping option would be automatic. Order total I have here. I didn't do all caps. Maybe I should have. Okay. Product name. And then account number. And I obviously want shipping date too. So order shipped date. Okay. So we'll come back to these in a second. And I think I wrote a query the other day. It's on my other monitor, and apologize, I was cheating. It kind of goes back to that where I hate when people do this, but it's a lot easier than right-clicking new table and just typing these in, because you all don't care about that. So what we're going to do is just create a new query. And so now what I have is create table. We're going to call it our test mark. So we know it's our test mark table. I have an ID. You have to have these two fields right here. Okay, that's the test name and the job ID. You'll have to add those to your test mark. Okay, and we'll come back to that. I'm not sure why I'm using ID. I don't think there is an ID field. Oh, I'm sorry. You have to have an ID field too. It's not part of our query. It's part of TDM. So these are the fields you have to have. Okay. I think we'll see when we get to this one. Maybe I'm maybe not on that one. Don't really care. We'll figure it out when we get there. Okay. So now we have a new table, and it should be called test mark, and it should be blank. Okay. Cool. It is. All right. So now we can go into TDM. And we're going to create a new project. Okay. As you see, I've kind of already played with it, but I want a new one because we're going to do this from scratch. So that way, if I mess up, you all can see it. Still have my cap locks on. Orders. Now, orders by description. Well, we'll call it orders test. Well, it's already having orders, and I'm trying to, like, I like to keep it generic, but we're just going to do this. Test match. Okay. And let's go ahead and get rid of this. And this version is where we're going to say orders by product. Okay. And I'm okay going to the target here. You'll see why. In fact, I have to go to the target. Well, I don't have to there, but I have to make sure I publish to the target, not just a file. So now we're going to go register our data, okay, because that's the next one. I'm already connected to that profile, so it should be fairly simple.